Okay, it's 2:01, so we're going to get started. Before I begin, let me read this disclaimer. The content of this webinar is for the information purposes only and remains the property of CapSpecialty. The content may not be reused, republished, quoted, or transmitted without the prior written consent of CapSpecialty. Please contact marketing@capspecialty.com with your request. I'm Lynne Fletcher from CapSpecialty, and I have the privilege of taking over as host of 25 Minutes with Cap today. Our guest is Adam Sills, our newly appointed president and CEO. Adam is also the host of 25 Minutes with Cap. Adam, thanks for joining me, and thanks for allowing me to take on your role today.
You're the only person who volunteered.
Yeah, well, somehow you get the last straw every once in a while. All right, we're going to get started with our questions. Let's start with, how does it feel to be in that seat today?
Taking the questions, I guess I'll have a better idea in 25 minutes, but, it's much easier, I think, to ask the questions than it is to answer them. And so we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that. You've been at the helm of CapSpecialty for 48 days now. How's it been? Has anything surprised you? And can you share your priorities with us?
Look, it's been really exciting. Cap is such a great group of people, from our underwriters, claims staff, operations personnel. Everyone really cares and is focused on continuing to be a great place to build and grow a profitable company. The energy is great here, and people love being here. Our main priority is continuing to take advantage of an attractive casualty market. Between our variety of niche products, strong distribution relationships, we operate in a good niche. For us, we have such nimble product development. We can take advantage of an opportunity in, say, a sliver of the E&O market, create a product, and leverage our expertise. That's hard for insurance companies to do, and it's one of our differentiators. Another main one for us is service. It sounds hollow, but many times the first response wins, and the first thoughtful response really wins. So we want to be a resource for our brokers, and we want to be that resource in a timely fashion. But hey, as we evolve and technology evolves, the concepts of service change. So we need to continue to adapt and innovate. Okay.
The recent hurricanes are estimated to have caused between $55 and $75 billion in damage. First of all, I would suspect the first thing you'll tell us is that CapSpecialty doesn't write property. But how do you think those storms and the resulting damage will impact the market, and how?
Sure. I mean, look, there's a couple of things going on here. The storm hits at a moment where equity markets are depressed, so it's tough to raise money. The dollar is strong. If you're an international reinsurer, it's that much more painful. Couple these macro trends with not only claims inflation, general inflation, i.e., people are going to want to buy even more limit, and you have a situation where the market's going to have a tough time putting together enough capacity. But look, to your point, we're in the casualty space, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Does the market get more competitive as capital rushes away from property? Or do the reinsurers say, we just don't want to take as much risk? If that happens, I think we'll see a continuation of the hard market.
And do you think it might lead to more opportunity in different products, different niches?
Well, I think it will. I'm not exactly sure which ones specifically, but look, the more there's pressure on larger companies, marginal performance won't be acceptable. And so, yes, I think you will see businesses that might have pressure on them have even more pressure and harden even more.
I should remind people that if you do have questions during our 25 minutes, feel free to put them in chat, and we'll try to address them during our time together. And if not, we'll do so afterwards. My next question, Adam, if we were having this discussion in 2025, what do you hope would be the same about CapSpecialty? What do you hope would be different? And if you want to comment on those things about the market we're in too, you can do that as well.
Well, I talked about some of the positive things that we have at the company, and I continue to hope that those things stay the same. The culture, the flexibility, the nimbleness, the passion around the people. That should continue to be the case. What could be different? As we continue to grow, we'll have that much deeper of a pipeline of talent to drive underwriting and operational success and respond to different opportunities in the marketplace. So I think there's a lot of great times ahead for the business.
So you've talked a little in answering two questions today about, well, you didn't call it that, but you talked a little bit about our culture and how it's different. For people who have never worked at CapSpecialty or with a group of people who have worked together at several companies, what is it about that culture and why is it different and why does it work?
Well, I think first off, you have to be nice. It's important. It's important to be able to set aside a personal agenda for the team. You have to work well with people. It's not to say that we aren't a competitive group of people, because we are, but the competition doesn't get in the way of the best interests of the company. So yeah, Lynn, you're right. Some of us have worked together for a while. We've also had many people who have joined us quite recently who talk about, wow, I've never been in a situation like this. I've never been around a company where where I feel so good about what I'm doing. We were in a meeting the other day. With someone it was an intern discussing what's different about the company, and it was, hey, people ask me about myself, and not in a rude way. So I think it's a place where people care about other people, and people also really care about the results. What do you think?
I would tell you that probably having a little bit of a longer career than you, my experience with this group of people and at this company and at the company or two we've worked together with previously, I've never been in a happier place. I've never been in a place that I've enjoyed coming to each and every day. I've never been in a place where everyone's opinion is valued. I tell people all the time, everyone can have a say. Once a decision is made, we all march in the same direction. But until that point, everyone can say what they want, and what they say will be factored into decision making. All
Lynn,
right.
no, I was just going to add to that. I feel a lot of responsibility in terms of you talked about 48 days. But as we continue on, I think there's a lot of responsibility to make sure that as the company grows and continues, that we continue to have people feeling that way about the business. I take that really seriously.
And that's hard to do the bigger you get. And the other part of it is, we're spread out all over the country as well. And creating a culture where people aren't together, sometimes it's not the easiest thing.
No,
but as I have done, and you have done as well, I think when we're out there visiting with people, I was in Arizona last week and had the good fortune of seeing a few of our West Coast underwriters, construction underwriters. I think that sense of teamwork is carried forth regardless of if you're a remote employee or you're in a small satellite office. And that's a really good feeling.
It's really hard to continue the culture when not everyone is in the same office. It's something that we've really battled on over the last 9 years. quite honestly, it just takes more work. What I think is, what I think sometimes people will do, just walking around the office and talking to people. Now it's really more about, having, not having to, but picking up the phone and talking to people, being that much more structured in the interactions. The organization is really important. So it's hard. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but it's hard, and we take it pretty seriously.
Great, thanks. All right, you have had a variety of guests on 25 Minutes with Cap. Who have you not had on that you would like to, and why would you like them to be a guest?
We've been pretty lucky. Just about everyone says yes, which I wasn't really sure how it would go when we started this during COVID. We started this, looking to get our name out. And Lynne, I think you were the one who said, "Hey, why don't we just create the media ourselves?" So we did, and I think it's gone well. Next month we've got Chris Cavallero from ARC. That will be good. Maybe one or two of my new Berkshire Hathaway colleagues. Insurance is such a varied and dynamic industry. I really enjoy talking to people who excel in its different corners, and it's been great to get such a diversity of talent. And whether it's wholesale brokers or different reinsurance carriers, I think it's been a success. I don't know, Lynne, what do you think? What do you think?
I agree.
Who should we have on next?
Well, Chris Cavallero, and I think
Sure.
that'll be great, and I think everyone should join in. But I think you're right. Hey, I think I look back on our speakers, and I've enjoyed them all. I thought Joe Brandon did a great job and shared with us how that deal happened, and that was kind of cool. Not only was Pat Ryan a great guest, but a few of us had the opportunity to spend some time with him the day before, and that was an interesting conversation too. As well as I do, we get together once a quarter, we bat around names, we each come with our own list, and I think the work product on the way out is much better than the individual work products that we came up with. So we'll be doing that again soon, and we'll figure it out. And some of it depends on what's going on in the industry too, because we do try to stay relevant. So we'll see.
But I was the 25 minutes we've gotten good pickup when we've done them. Last month's with the WSIA, we had really good pickup, and that was and we had a bunch of people who wanted to do it, and that was great.
Yeah, it was. And I like the diversity of that group. So we might come up with some other ways to do something like that again. All right, so now I have a couple questions for you that maybe people on the phone, on Zoom are a little too polite to ask, but Adam, I've known you for a little while, so I'll go ahead and ask them for them. So let's start with, your dad's an icon in the industry. You've worked with him and now you compete against him. I'm sure that there are pros and cons to having a relative in the industry. Would you please share your thoughts on this, including some of the positives and some of the negatives?
Sure. Certainly, I'm not the only one with a relative in the industry. I might be one of the only ones who has a voice that sounds exactly like the relative. And that's been something that's followed me for a while. He's been an amazing resource for advice and motivation. I would tell you, as our competitor now, the conversations are less business related, more surrounding his being a grandfather to my two kids. But yeah, look, that's been out there. It was definitely out there a lot more when I started in the industry, and but it has its pros and cons. More pros.
Well, I can tell you, back in the Darwin days, you'd be, we all sat in those rows of desks, and you'd hear the voice, and you'd whip around in your chair, and you'd see Adam Sills, and then everyone would go, and turn around and go back to work. It was quite fun.
Right. No, I look, I got it growing up when I answered the phone. So yes, that's just what it is.
All right. Another little bit of a zinger. Although you no longer qualify to be a member of WSIA's U40, you're relatively young to be the CEO of a company. What do you have to say to your naysayers?
What are they saying?
No comment.
Well, look, so for those who are listening, this goes back to, I think I was 39 years old, and they had given me the WSIA under 40 badge. And Lynne and others in our organization said, yeah, you should be wearing that badge. So, but look, I mean, I guess I would say, I'm a product of a great company in CapSpecialty. One of the things that I've been so lucky with, and that I really look to have everyone else get the same opportunities too, is, as you do more, you get more. And I think it's been a great place to be able, to grow and to learn more about different parts of the business. And so, not only being in part of underwriting all different parts of the business, but also being involved in some of the non-underwriting facets of the business. So I think I don't really have anything to say, I guess.
So I'll look at your resume a little bit. You started back at the Travelers, right?
Yes.
And did you start as a D&O? I know one of my friends tells me the story about him meeting you in bond school, but did you start as a D&O underwriter?
Yeah, sure. So yes. So I was a private D&O underwriter in Chantilly, Virginia, at Travelers that came under the bond department. And I was there for a year. Chantilly, Virginia, for those who don't know, was our Washington, D.C. office with Travelers. I then went to Hartford and worked on the, I think it was called it was one of the Midwest regions as a referral underwriter. And that was my time at Travelers. And then I joined I joined Darwin to do D&O, and then got involved in tech E&O and cyber.
So you were one of the founders of that product at Darwin.
Well, yes, we were writing it when it was really tech E&O for non-tech companies. So we were taking, the only cyber, there might have been one or two pure play cyber policies out there or products out there. For us, it was, let's take our techie, it was called the Tech 404 product, for those that remember. And it had tech E&O, privacy, security, media, intellectual property. We just excluded the E&O and sold it to non-tech companies. And that was the base for what we then built out, was a pretty robust privacy product.
And I recall back then, one of the things that you guys did that might have been pretty innovative in its time, didn't you have one of the IT guys on the calls with you?
No, we did. So what happened was, oh, there he is right now. What we did was, it wasn't just underwriting the application, it was also taking time with the IT personnel or the IT security personnel at the organization that we were underwriting, and kind of doing free form question asking. A lot of people do that now. And there's also more stuff now around scans and and different types of proactive measures. But we were one of the first people to do this, and I think we were pretty well placed in that, at that time.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing some of your underwriting roots with us.
Sure, of course.
For a few minutes. My last question, Adam. What should I have asked you, which I failed to do?
I really didn't have anything, or I don't have anything. We had, I don't know. I think you covered it. I think, I'm really excited about the opportunity. I think there's a lot of good stuff, that's obviously happened at CapSpecialty, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen here. We're excited about the future, and just really, really happy to be working with such a good group of people. I guess, the one other thing I would mention is, we spent a lot of time talking about CapSpecialty and its people. It's also probably worthwhile to note some of the other stakeholders that we have. We have a really good distribution base. We do a lot of great things with some of our key wholesale partners, and these have been people who have been very very instrumental in the growth and success.
I agree with you. I guess so. That's our 25 minutes with Cap today. Adam, thanks again for yielding your chair to me,
Sure.
and thanks for joining me at 25 minutes with Cap. As Adam mentioned, next month's guest is Chris Cavallero. The invitation will be going out shortly, and I would encourage everyone to get that on their calendar, because I guarantee Adam will be enjoy taking his seat back, and I think it will be a lively and interesting conversation. Thanks all.
Thanks, Lynn.